We'll start with Brother Asghar. Salawat par Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
In the name of Allah, the All-Merciful, the All-Compassionate. Fatima the Zahra, the daughter of the Prophet, peace be upon them, is to thus having a related event. My father, the Prophet of Allah, came to my house one day and said to me, peace be upon you, Fatima. I replied, upon you, peace. He said, I feel weakness in my body. Allah said, Allah protects you from weakness, father. He said, Fatima, please bring the Yemeni cloak and cover me with it. So I bought the Yemeni cloak and covered him with it. Then I looked at him and I saw that his face was shining like a moon with its glory and splendor. After a while, my son Hassan came in and said, peace be upon you. I replied, upon you, peace, O light of my eyes and delight of my heart. He said, Mother, I smell a fragrance so sweet and so pure, that of my grandfather, the Prophet of Allah. I replied, yes, your grandfather is lying underneath the clothes. Hassan went near the cloak and said, peace be upon you, my grandfather, the Prophet of Allah. May I enter the cloak with you? He replied, upon you, peace, my son, my master, my fountain. Kauthar, you are given the permission to enter. So Hassan entered the cloak with him. After a while, my son Hussein came in and said, peace be upon you. I replied, upon you, peace, O light of my eyes and delight of my art. He said, Mother, I smell a sweet fragrance like that of my grandfather, the Prophet of Allah. I replied, yes, your grandfather and your brother are lying underneath the cloak. Hussein stepped towards the cloak and said, peace be upon you, my grandfather, the chosen of Allah. May I enter the cloak with you? He replied, upon you, peace, my son, the interceder, my follower. You are given the permission to enter. So Hussein entered the cloak with them. After a while, Abu Hussein Ali bin Abi Talib came and said, peace be upon you, O daughter of the Prophet. I replied, upon you, peace, O father of Hassan and the commander of the faithful. He said, Fatima, I smell a sweet fragrance like that of my brother, my cousin, the Prophet of Allah. I replied, yes, he is underneath the cloak with your two sons. So Ali went near the cloak and said, peace be upon you, Prophet of Allah. May I enter the cloak with you? He replied, upon you, peace of my brother, my legatee, my successor, my standard bearer. You are given the permission to enter. So Ali entered the cloak with them. Then I stepped forward and said, peace be upon you, Father, O Prophet of Allah. May I enter the cloak with you? He replied, upon you, peace, my daughter, O part of myself. You are given the permission to enter. So I entered the cloak with them. He replied, upon you, peace, O my daughter, O part of myself. You are given the permission to enter. So I entered the cloak with them. Getting together underneath the cloak, my father, the Prophet of Allah, held the cloak with the two ends of the cloak and said, raised his right hand towards the heavens and prayed, O Allah, these are the people of my household, the Ahlul Bayt. They are my confidence, my supporters. Their flesh is my flesh, and their blood is my blood. Whoever hurts them hurts me too. Whoever displeases them displeases me too. I'm at war with those at war with them. I'm at peace with those at peace with them. I am the enemy of their enemies, and I am the friend of their friends. They are from me, and I am from them. O Allah, bestow your blessings and benefits, forgiveness and pleasure upon me and upon them, and keep a purity away from them, and keep them thoroughly pure. Then the Lord Almighty said, O my angels, O residents of my heavens, verily I have not created the erected skies, the stretched earth, the illuminated moon, the bright sun, the rotating planets, the flowing seas, and the sailing ships, but for the love of these five lying underneath the cloak. Jibreel, the trusted angel, asked, who are underneath the cloak? The Almighty answered, they are the Prophet of Allah, they are the household of the Prophet and the assets of Prophethood. They are Fatima, her father, her husband, and her two sons. Jibreel said, O Lord, may I fly to to earth to be the sixth of them? Allah replied, yes, you are given the permission to enter. Jibreel, the trusted, landed near the cloak and said, peace be upon you, O Prophet of Allah. The All-Highest conveys his peace and his greetings and says, by my honor and glory, and O my angels, O residents of my heavens, verily I have not created the erected sky, the stretched earth, the illuminated moon, the bright sun, the rotating planets, the flowing seas, and the sailing ships, but for your sake and love. God has given me the permission to enter the cloak with you. May I join, O Prophet of Allah? The Prophet said, peace be upon you, O trusted bearer of Allah. Allah's revelations, you are granted the permission to enter. So Jibreel entered the cloak with us and said to my father, O Allah sends his revelations to you. Verily, Allah's desire is to keep blemish away from you, O people of household Elobed, and purify you with perfect purification. Then Ali said to my father, O Prophet of Allah, tell me, what is the significance has Allah given for getting together underneath this cloak? The Prophet replied, by him who rightfully appointed me a prophet and chose me a messenger for the salvation of the mankind. Whenever and wherever an assembly of our followers and friends mention this event, Allah will bestow on them his blessings and mercy. Angels will encircle them, asking Allah for the remission of their sins until the assembly disperse. So Ali said, verily, by the Lord of the Kaaba, we and our winners are the winners. Then my father replied, by him who rightfully appointed me a prophet and chose me a messenger for the salvation of mankind. Whenever and wherever the assembly of our followers and friends mention this event, they shall not remain in grief, but Allah shall remove his grief. They shall remain none distressed, but Allah will dispel his distress. They shall remain none wish-eager, but Allah will grant his wish. Ali verily said, by the Lord of the Kaaba, we and our followers are the winners in this world and the next. Salvat. Salvat. So next I'm going to be reciting a poem that's called The Heart of Karbala, written by Sister Sukana Musfi. The night finally fell on Layla, shrouding her on its hold. Layla felt her breath escape, lungs strangling on her throat. She prayed the night to pass slow, begged dawn not to arrive. For as long as night remained, her son would stay alive. Besides her rabab soothing Asghar as he slept, her hands shaking as she touched this tender skin of his neck. Muhammad shivered in Zainab's arm as On rested his head on her knee, and as she prepared her sons for death, Layla watched Zainab's become Ali. Abbas trailed the tent to tent, leaving courage in his wake, and when she saw her son trailing, Layla's shoulders began to shake. He caught his mother's glance, coming to kneel before her, and Layla passed her hand over her head, her beloved Ali Akbar. Her Akbar would never be wed, whom she would never again hold. Her Akbar would never return home, she would never see grow old. She would leave him nude, lying on this burning desert, and her boy's head covered in dirt, his blood matting in this desolate land. Maybe they would leave him alone, seeing Rasulullah in his gaze, but Layla thought of Fatima and how she would have to face. Akbar would have to sleep on the sands for Islam to remain, and Layla wild for death to assimilate her before the morrow came. Death did not come for Layla when she finally said goodbye, as she killed her mercilessly by keeping her alive. She died when she held Ali Akbar for the last time. She died as she watched him stride outside. She died as she picked up his sword and mounted the horse. She died as the battlefield consumed him, and she could not see him no more. For Layla's entire world she had to send to die. As she raised her hands in hopes to see him one last time, her tears ran raw, her knees collapsed as she went to kneel, and she prayed to the one who had given Yaqub back to his Yusuf and Hira her Ismail. And she looked when she saw her prayers standing in front of her eyes, her heart melting and breaking all at once. Certainly she could not say goodbye, for if he left now, there would be no more to protect Zainab's Rida, but she had to go, for her son was not above her son Fatima. So Akbar made it to the battlefield again. Every step he was shadowed by Hussein, his back already broken under the weight of Abbas's cry, and now Akbar's death would bury him alive. The morn of Ashur had borne the testimony to Ali Akbar's last azan, and his voice filled the sky. Heartbreak had ripped through the Maidan. Karbala was frantic as it tried to eternalize his words in this sands, and then the mercy granted to this blood-torn land. But now Karbala heard a different sort of cry, the one that ran cold, wrong frauds dry. Hussein lunged forth, filling with his arms as he stumbled forward to answer Ali Akbar's last salam. The desert floor was frantically shifted, trying to make way for Hussein as he cried on his knees to disseparate to reach the Nur Alan. Hussein would have lifted the Khabar with ease, but his young son's corpse brought him to his knees. Karbala refused to hold Akbar, its sand stilling in the wind. This young man looked too young, like this prophet's desert, could not bury him, but Akbar's blood would forever run through the Karbala's battered veins, the father that borne his son's corpse across the wilted plains. It would remember how Hussein asked Fatima to prepare Zainab's heart, and how Zainab's cries had ripped the skies apart. Karbala will bear the witness that Hussein had truly laid his entire soul by Allah's feet, and it had taken Akbar's heart for Hussein's message to be complete. Salawat. Without further ado, we'd like to kindly ask everyone to please put their phones on silent. And inshallah, we'll be having Majlis with Sheikh Hasnan Mir. Tomorrow Sheikh Jaleel will be joining us, and then the following weekend will be Sheikh Hasnan Mir, and all Majlises will be at 8 p.m. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Sheikh Jaleel to the member. Salawat.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، حبيبي وحبيبي إله العالمين أبا القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين ذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. There's a request of Surah Al-Fatiha for Abbas Naqwi and Abdullah Khan Naqwi. May Allah be pleased with their souls. Al-Fatiha. And also let's remember our marhumeen as well. May Allah be pleased with all of them. Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. قال الله العلي العظيم في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وكذلك نري إبراهيم ملكوت السماوات والأرض وليكون من الموقنين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على. Tonight, our topic is lessons from Ibrahim alayhi salam and how to apply those lessons in our daily lives. As you know, one of the many prophets Quran mentioned them is Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. As a matter of fact, according to our ulama, they said Ibrahim is the most mentioning prophet in the Quran. The first one is Musa alayhi salam. The second most mentioning prophet in the Quran was Ibrahim alayhi salam. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, his life from the Quranic point of view and ahadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they are full of lessons for every generation. And that is why when Quran describes him in one of the ayah, Allah says, Kana Ibrahim Ummah. That Allah described Ibrahim as a one person, Allah describes him as a nation. When we say nation, it's a group of people who live together and have many things in common. That's called Ummah. When we say Ummah of Muhammad, they are the generation who live together after Prophet Muhammad, have one belief and one leader. It's called Ummah. But Ibrahim, he was just by himself. But Quran describes him Ummah. How did he become Ummah? They say because in everything about his life, there is lessons for generations. And that's why it's called Ummah. Now this Ibrahim alayhi salam, we can divide his life into three categories. The first part of his life, before he was announced as a prophet. The second part of his life is after he became prophet. And then the third part of his life, some of the challenges he went through. Number one, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was not like other prophets. There are so many important things in his life that you cannot compare with other prophets. Number one, some of the prophets that Allah sent, they only dealt with individuals, people. And that was it. Example, Prophet Lut alayhi salam, he all dealt with people. His people that Allah sent them, few hundreds, and that's it. Prophet Yunus alayhi salam, the same thing. And Quran says, وَأَرْسَلْنَاهُ إِلَى مِئَةِ أَلْفٍ أَوْ يَزِيدُونَ. Allah said we sent Yunus, was a prophet, but we sent him to 100 people, 100,000 people. And that was it. Which means his life was just to deal with people, and that was it. But there are other prophets, not only they have to deal with people, they have to deal with challenges of their own families. Which means, despite they have to deal with people outside, they have challenges at home too. See, sometimes when we go to work and we have all kind of hard work at work, when we come home, we expect peace at home. Ibrahim alayhi salam, no, he didn't have that. Which means He has problems outside and troubles at home too. He has to deal with. That's not just only that. On top of that, Ibrahim have to deal with the king of his time. Certain prophet, they didn't deal with the kings, tyrant of the time. But Ibrahim dealt with that. Because Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was born at a time where they had a king who was known as one of the worst king of the history of mankind. And his name is Namrud ibn Canaan. That was his name. Namrud bin Canaan. That was his name. This Namrud, he ruled Iraq, in the city which Ibrahim was born and raised in. But before Ibrahim was born, this Canaan, this Namrud, he had his people who predict future for him. What's going to happen in the future. So he can plan ahead of time. So one day those people came to him and they said to him, Ya Namrud, according to our astrologists, right, we found that there will be a child to be born in near future. And he will threat your kingdom. Similar to Musa alayhi salam and Pharaoh. They told Namrud that. So what Namrud did, he says, if that is the case from today, I give an order, every boy born must be killed. From that time, Namrud gave an order, every baby boy born in Iraq must be died, must be killed. At that time, the mother of Ibrahim realized she was pregnant with Ibrahim alayhi salam. What would she do? She decided that she will not abort her child, nor she would allow their child to be killed. So what she decided to do is to find a cave abandoned where there are no people around, so she can live a life secretly, give birth and take care of her child. So she went in the remote area of Babel, the city where Ibrahim was born, and she stayed there for the entire years of her pregnancy. Few months after she went into that cave, her husband, the father of Ibrahim, died. You know what struggle this woman went through? She had her husband to support her, to help her so they can go through this together. But now her husband is dead. Now she was left alone to deal with this pregnancy. But that never killed her spirit. She went into that cave for full 9 months. After 9 months of pregnancy with Ibrahim alayhi salam, she then gave birth to Ibrahim alayhi salam in that cave alone. And she raised her son Ibrahim alone in that cave. Now you guess historians, how many years did they say? 10 years? 5 years? She lived with her son Ibrahim to protect herself and her child for 13 years in that cave. Now add another 9 months of her pregnancy, almost 14 years she lived in that cave just to protect her child. And that child is Ibrahim alayhi salam. After 13 years of living in that cave, Ibrahim alayhi salam started to learn how to go out. He told his mother, my mother, it's time for me to go out and explore life. He was 13 years old, but the mother she's still worried and scared about her child. She said, Ya Ibrahim, I have lived in this cave for all these years to protect you. I don't want you to go out there and get involved in other things. Maybe Namrud will take your life. And I'm afraid to lose someone like you. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was never afraid And here's what I want to learn. I want us to learn from Ibrahim alayhi salam. Because Ibrahim has so much lesson to learn, and he went through so much to the point where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, Ya Ibrahim, I want you to be my friend. You know the difference between this and what we pray to Allah. Allah, I want to be this. You ask Allah. No, Ibrahim, he did not ask Allah. Allah said, I want to be your friend. And in Surah Al-Nisa, Allah said, وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا. Allah said, I took him a friend. You know, we sometimes want to take a mu'min friend, right? And we go through Allah to become their friends. Now Ibrahim didn't ask Allah, Allah said, I want to be your friend. You have to understand this man is not a joke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has to be a special person for Allah to say, I want you to be my friend. And for that reason, Ibrahim has so much to offer to the table where he got to that level where Allah chose him to be his friend. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he had so many names. Some of them were mentioned by the Quran, and some of them were mentioned by the hadith of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt. One of the names that was known, given to him by the Prophet, was known as Batalut Tawheed. Batal means hero. Tawheed, of unity of Allah. Which means when you come in Tawheed, how to be faithful to Allah and have a strong belief in oneness of Allah, Ibrahim was one of the heroes of those who believe in oneness of Allah. Ibrahim alayhi salam, not only he believed in oneness of Allah, that like we and I say, I believe in Allah, but my action is opposite. No, Ibrahim, when he said, I believe, you see that in every single of his movement. His action, his words, you can see that this man really believed in God. And that is why his enemy, Namrud, La'natullah alayhi, after all what he put Ibrahim into, when you look at Ibrahim, he says to his people, he said, if any of you is willing to worship any God, I urge you to worship the God of Ibrahim. Has he seen Allah? No, he didn't. How did he know the God of Ibrahim? Through Ibrahim. Because he saw how Ibrahim alayhi salam was into his God and how much he has a faith in Allah. He said it's beyond he can imagine about Ibrahim alayhi salam. That was Ibrahim. That's why it's called Batalut Tawheed, the hero of belief of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number two, one of his titles also is known Abul Anbiya, the father of prophets. And you know, this title is amazing. That is one of the lessons we can learn from Ibrahim. Ibrahim al-Khalil alayhi salam, he grew up in that city of Babel, very full of knowledge, civilization, until he became 13 years old. The first time Ibrahim came out of that cave and started to experience life, the first thing he saw was to meet people who were idol worshippers. And the moment he saw that, Ibrahim knew this cannot be God's. The first thing he started is what? To question, what is this? Why this? Right? And when you go to the Quran tells you what was his questions. And this is one of the lessons that we have to learn here, brothers and sisters. Because sometimes we said culture pressure. Sometimes that's what we say, right? There is a pressure. I cannot help it, right? I'm born in America. People live this way. Whether it's wrong or not, I have to follow because that is what we know. No. You have options to say no if it's wrong. And you can learn that from Ibrahim al-Khalil alayhi salam. Ibrahim, when he came out and he saw idol worshippers everywhere, including his own families. As a matter of fact, his uncle, whose Quran mentioned Azar, was one of the manufacturers of those idols. But that never put Ibrahim to surrender and fall for what they were doing. The first thing he did was to start questioning. The first question he asked them, he says, هَلْ يَسْمَعُونَكُمْ? Those idols that you worship, do they hear you? They say no. I said, okay. Second question, هَلْ يَنْفَعُونَكُمْ أَوْ يَضُرُّونَ? Can they benefit you in any way? They say no. Then ask them the third question, can they hurt you in any way? They say no. Then you say, why do you worship something? Can't benefit you, can't hurt you, can't hurt you. What's the point of worshiping them? Then Ibrahim alayhi salam, immediately he started to refuse worshiping those idols. And as he refused those idols, he opened a new chapter for himself. What is that chapter? Research and looking to find the true God. That's one of the lessons. Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he refused the idol worshipping, he started to learn about where is the God, who is the God, because he realized that there have to be a creator of this universe. But who is that God? How can I find him? And that is where the Quran takes us to his journey. First journey of Ibrahim, because here's the lesson. Ibrahim knew that if he wants to change the world, first he has to change himself. You cannot change the world when you yourself did a change. Ibrahim realized that I want to change these people, but first I have to find the true God and then ask them to follow. That's why you go to the Quran. After he found God, he said to his uncle, Ya abati inni ra'aytu, I saw what you have in son, ittabi'ni ahdika siratan sawiyya. Come and follow me and I will guide you to the right path. But he didn't say that in the beginning. He said that after he went through his own research. The first research of Ibrahim, which Quran mentioned, the first thing is he started to think about Allah through his creations. And that is one of the things they mentioned about Prophet Ibrahim. They said, Kana kathirul fikr. He thinks a lot. And when he looks at things, he analyzes why this. He question and think about a lot of things. And you can go to the Quran, and Quran tells you how much he thinks. One example about thinking of Ibrahim, when you go to Surah Al-Baqarah, when Allah talks about him, that Ibrahim goes to the river, and when he saw a dead animal was laying dead, half of it in the sea, half on the land, and there were animals both sides, they were eating that dead animal. Then Ibrahim started thinking, Ya Rab, this one dead animal and its meat is being distributed into hundreds of these different animals. How are you going to bring all these pieces that was distributed and the stomach of all those animals to create this animal again Yawm al-Qiyamah? And that is when he asked Allah, and it's mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, قَالَ رَبِّ أَرِنِي كَيْفَ تُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى. Ya Allah, can you show me how you bring that back to life? Then Allah asked him, أَوَلَمْ تُؤْمِنْ? Don't you believe that I have the power to do that? Then he says, Bala, I do believe. But guess what? لِيَطْمَئِنَّ قَلْبِي. I want something for my own comfort. Itman is one thing, comfort is another. Right? And Allah showed him through that ayah that Quran mentioned into detail. So Ibrahim, كَانَ كَثِيرُ الْفِكْرِ. He thinks a lot. And you know, one of the problems of the world today, we don't think that much. The world, we don't think. And it's so scary, my dear brothers and sisters, that the world, with all the technology that we have, we losing this great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah several times, He tells us in the Quran, أَفَلَا يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Don't they take a time to think and use this brain to think about things? Today, most of us, we don't even memorize our own numbers anymore. Why? Because of technology. Right? Everything is in the... Before, people memorized hundreds of numbers. And you ask them, they will tell you all the numbers. But today, we don't use it anymore. That brain is being put aside. And that's the scary part. And when you go to Islam, Islam emphasizes about the importance of thinking. The Prophet tells us, التفكر ساعة خير من عبادة 70 سنة. Just to think 1 hour, the Prophet said, is better than 70 years of ibadah without thinking. That is the importance of thinking. Ibrahim al-Khalil is one of the examples of thinking. When he sits and he looks at this, he thinks and analyzes them. So the first thing he saw, and Quran says, فَلَمَّا رَأَى الشَّمْسَ بَازِغًا. First thing he saw was the sun. When he looked at the sun, he says, هَذَا رَبِّي. This is my Lord. And you know, this is a lesson that when you go to our aqidah, as the fiqh al-Ja'fari or aqaid of Ja'fari, they taught us something that in usul al-din, there is no taqleed. In furu' al-din, yes, do taqleed as much as you want, right? But in usul al-din, when it comes to tawheed, it comes to al-adl, al-nubuwwa, al-imama, al-adl, there is no taqleed in this usul al-din. Every individual is responsible to get to know Allah through his own experiences. And that's what Ibrahim did. Ibrahim alayhi salam, the first thing, he started to think about Allah through his creations. قال هذا ربي, this is my Lord. But then he started watching, analyzing the sun. And as the sun was going down, the moment he saw the sun was setting, he changed his mind. He says, قال, this cannot be my Lord. لا أحب الآفلين. I don't like gods who disappear. I want a God who stays all the time. He comes in the morning, he's there in the daytime, and then the evening, he says, I don't want him. Then he continue to thinking about another God. What was it? Quran says, فَلَمَّا رَأَى الْقَمَرَ. The night came and he saw how much sun and moon was brightened. قَالَ هَذَا رَبِّي هَذَا أَكْبَرُ. He said, this might be my Lord. And this might be greater. Then when the morning came, he changed. And he says, now this time, he says, لَإِن لَمْ يَهْدِنِي رَبِّي. If my Lord did not guide me to find him, لَأَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الْخَاسِرِينَ. I'll be among the losers. And he continued from one way to another. Some historian says, one day Ibrahim alayhi salam was sleeping. As he was going through research, asking, thinking, one day he was sleeping, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Jibreel to guide him. You know, there is one ayah we can understand in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Allah said, those who struggle in trying to find us, we will guide them to us. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا. And look at the word jahadu, from the word jihad. They struggle, they put effort, they put some energy in trying to find Allah. Allah said, we will definitely help you to find where you are. But the point is, you have to put some time and struggle to find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Kahf too, to Ashab Al-Kahf. Ashab Al-Kahf, the people of cave, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. They were young men who believed in Allah and they were striving to get more. Allah said, then we increase and show them our guidance more. Ibrahim alayhi salam, after effort of trying to find Allah, in the dream, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed Ibrahim some of the miracles. That's why the ayah we just read, Allah said, وَكَذَلِكَ نُرِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ مَلَكُوتَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. That is how we want to show Ibrahim the kingdom of the heavens and the earth, so he can be among those who are sitting about their God. In his dream, Ibrahim saw the heavens and he saw how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in every level of the heavens. And by the time Ibrahim woke up, Allahu Akbar, he was filled with faith and belief in oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that belief never shaken by anything from that day till the day Ibrahim passed away. And to strengthen his belief, every time Ibrahim takes one step, Allah put 10 steps in front of him. One lesson we can learn from Ibrahim. You know, Ibrahim alayhi salam, from when he became in his 30s, he started asking Allah for a child. He wants Allah to give him a son, a child. And guess how long he has been praying? And I want us to take another lesson, because sometimes we get frustrated with Allah. Sometimes we get angry with Allah. I prayed Allah for 1 week. In the whole month of Ramadan, I've been praying and no result. I went to Ziyarah. I prayed to Imam Hussein. Nothing happened. And we get frustrated. We get sad. We started talking. Now listen to Ibrahim, one of the messengers of Allah. For almost 40 years, he was asking Allah. I'm not saying 4 days, not 40 months. 40 years, he was asking Allah for a child. And Allah didn't give him. But guess what? Ibrahim alayhi salam never was frustrated with Allah and never was turned away from Allah. Like some of us, I ask Allah something, I didn't get, I quit. Ya Allah, I ask you A, B, okay Allah, guess what? I'm tired, it's over. I'm not going to ask anymore. Ibrahim al-Khalil, 40 years, he was asking Allah. And Allah didn't give it to him. But he didn't stop asking. And we have to learn, brothers and sisters, sometimes we ask Allah certain things and maybe the time is not good for you yet. In Allah's wisdom, He knows, in this year, if I give this person this and this, he will not be it's not going to benefit him. So Allah delays it to the right time and the right location. And you listen to the Quran. After 40 years of Ibrahim asking Allah, listen to what Allah responded to him. And it's amazing in the Quran. It got to the point, Ibrahim, as he was asking, at the time of when he was 80 years old. 80 years old, it's time like, okay, it's over, the door is closed. I'm not going to ever have a child anymore. That is when Allah said, okay, Ibrahim, listen carefully. What is it? In Surah Safar, read those ayahs and see what Allah told him. Then Allah said, فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ حَلِيمٍ. After 40 years of asking Allah, Allah said, now we see the right time to give him. What did Allah do? Allah said, فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ. We gave him a good news. When Ibrahim was not even expecting, Allah sent him the angel. Ya Ibrahim, listen, what is it? Basharnahu. We gave him a good news. What was the good news? Bighulamin. Al-ghulam. Just the word ghulam has so much to learn. You know, in India, Pakistan culture, we use the word ghulam a lot. Ghulam Abbas, Ghulam Hussein, right? But what does it mean, ghulam? The word ghulam is used for a boy who will live to at least to become a teenager. A boy who is teenager is called ghulam. So in the word ghulam that Allah used, Allah gave him two things that he didn't even talk about. Number one, when Allah said فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ, from the word ghulam, we realize that the child that Allah is going to give him is going to be a boy. That's one. Number two, that child also, there is guarantee he will survive to up to 13 years old. That's the word ghulam. Because ghulam means a boy who is at least 13 years old. But ghulam from that ayah. So Allah told him ghulamin, and they said halim. Not just a child, he will have a good quality. Halim means what? Someone who does not rush into judgment. That's what it is, halim. When Ibrahim got the child, Allah. That's the first one, right? Because there were two news Allah gave him. The second one, Allah said also, فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِإِسْحَاقَ نَبِيًّا وَمِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. Now he asked Allah for one child, right? But Allah didn't give him for 4 years. But when the time came, Allah said, we're going to give you one, Ghulam. And he says, not only Ghulam, Halim. The second one, he said, not only we're going to give you another child, we're also going to give you his name, and he's going to be the prophet, and he's going to be among the righteous ones as well. That was Ibrahim al-Khalil alayhi salam. And he went through that test of Allah. When Allah gave him that child, and that child was what we call today Ismail alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam. But when did he get the child? After 40 years of being patient with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's something we should learn, to have patience with Allah. Because sometimes, brothers, we can ask Allah something in our mind, in our heart, in our vision. It's good for us today. But guess what? Yes, it might be. But Allah might have something better for you that you might not know of. But if you are patient for another time that Allah is planning for you, that time will be the best, and will be the best for you in this world and the hereafter. And that was what Ibrahim did. If Allah is to give him a child, because we all ask Allah for children, but there are some children, not only they are not blessings, they are punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah is to give you a child such as Pharaoh, would you be happy about that child? It's a child too, right? If Allah is to give you somebody a child called Namrud or Yazid, they are children too, right? But who can be proud of a child like this? But if Allah is to delay and give you someone like Ismail and Ishaq, wouldn't that be blessing? Right? Now Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah tells you what he went through. One of the most difficult tests that he went through is the child that Allah gave him. Allah gave him Ismail. And Ibrahim alayhi salam raised him until he became 13 years old, which is the age of the word Ghulam, right? At that moment, Allah told him, Ya Ibrahim, I want that child back. Can you imagine? Like somebody giving you something, you work on it, like somebody gives you an old car. You buy a new engine, you buy a new of everything, you put it together, now the car is running good, then you say, I want my car back. See, after all this effort, after all this energy, now you want the car back? Ibrahim alayhi salam, after Allah gave him the child, he raised the child. After the child reached to the age of 13, which Quran says, فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَعَهُ السَّعِي. As-sa'i means, at the time where the child started to do some errands for him, Allah said, now I want to take the child back. But do you think Ibrahim was ever sad that Allah is taking something from him? Never. And how did Allah even told him that? The Quran says, Ibrahim saw a dream. The timing and the dream is all amazing. The time that he saw a dream, and narrator said, he saw the dream, Yawm al-Tarwiyah. Yawm al-Tarwiyah means what? The 8th of the Hajj, 2 days before the day of Eid. That was the first dream that he saw. What was the dream? That Allah was telling him that he wants him to slaughter his son. And you know, brothers, maybe we might not understand how hard this test is. See, sometimes Allah tells you, I'm gonna let your child to be killed by someone. That's one thing. But sometimes, no, I want you yourself to take your hand and kill your own son for Allah. How hard that is. And that is what Allah showed Ibrahim in the dream. So when he woke up, the narration said, when he woke up from that dream, he started sweating. For two reasons. Reason number one, because Ibrahim knew that the dream of the prophet is real. That's scary. Number two, no, Allah wants him to do the slaughter. That's why when he called his son, he says, Inni ara fil manami anni adbahuk. I saw that I should slaughter you, I myself. And which father are we talking about? A father who waited 40 years for that child. Now, a lot of parents, we waited for our child for 9 months and that's it, right? Now, 40 years and now he got the child. He raised the child. After 13 years old, now he has to send the child, do this, buy this, do. And now Allah said, I want the child back. And which way? No, anni adbahuk. But Ibrahim, he says, if this is true, Allah will guide me through. Then the next night also he slept. The same dream came to him. He woke up and he was sweating even more than the yesterday. And the narration says when he sat for the second time, he started crying. But he was not crying because Allah is want to take him, Allah want to take something from him, or Allah want him to slaughter. They say he was crying that he wants Allah to help him to carry the mission of Allah. How heavy is this? Not only that, it's not crying because I have to slaughter my son. No, I'm crying that I want his help for me to do what he wants me to do. Now the third night, the same thing. After the third night, when he woke up, that is when he called his son Ismail. His son came and he said to him, Ya bunayya inni ara fil manami anni azbahuk. And look at the way he was talking to his son. You know, there is so much lessons, because sometimes as a father, as a mother, when we talk to our children, it has to be with certain tones. The way we talk to our children, it has a big impact. Even if they are not believers, even if they are mushrik, the tone that you use to talk to them is extremely important. You go to Surah Luqman. Luqman was talking to his son who was not a believer, who was a mushrik, and he says, Ya bunayya la tushrik billah. He was very polite in talking to his son. Ibrahim alayhi salam was extremely polite. He says, Ya bunayya, that word bunayya is called harf al-tasghir. Harf al-tasghir in Arabic, it comes for two meanings. One is للتعظيم والاحترام, or sometimes it comes للتحقير. But Ibrahim was using it للإحترام, for respect for his son Ismail. And he says, Inni ara. I am, and he used the word ara. Ara is fi'l mudara, means I saw a couple of times in my dream that Allah is asking me to slaughter you. But look, he put two important things here. One is Allah. One is him as a father. But upon all of that, he told his son, it's the request of Allah that me to do this, but still I want your opinion in carrying the mission of Allah. Then he said, Fandur, I want you, my son, Fandur, see, Mada tara, what do you think? Which means he made the child to be part of the mission of Allah. He gave the child the opportunity to speak his mind, to speak his heart, whether he's going to comply or not. It's his choice. Because he has the saying too. Because sometimes we think, I have to make a decision because I'm the father. And whether the child is agreeing on, no. Yes, your child, yes. But he has his own mind too. He has his own feelings too. Let him speak his mind. Abraham said, Fandur mada tara. Now listen to that child also. When he responds to his father, he says, Ya abati if'al ma tu'mar. See, you see, there is two things learning to learn from both Ibrahim and the son. Ibrahim was focusing on the entire conversation about Allah. Now the son, when he responds, his focus was not on him or his father, it's on Allah too. That they both are focusing on Allah. When he responds, he says, Ya abati, my father, if'al, do ma tu'mar. what your Lord ordered you to do. Which means I accept that it's not your choice. It's not something you want. It's Allah's choice. Then he says, this is the order of Allah. He said, listen to my personal opinion you want to hear from me. Right? He said, Satajiduni insha'Allah min as-sabirin. If you want my opinion, I'm telling you, my father, that you will find me among the most patient one in carrying the mission of Allah. Allahu Akbar. Then Quran says, فَلَمَّا أَسْلَمَ. The word aslama, both of them. When the father and the son, they both surrender and submit their will to Allah, what happened? Quran says, then the son told the father what he anticipates and expects from his father. And every word from Ismail is absolutely touching the heart. He said to his father, my father, now that we both agreed on this mission, but I have some requests from you. What are the requests? I said, Ya Abati, my father. This is from the hadith of Ahlul Bayt. I said, my father, when you take me to do this mission of Allah, my first request is, make sure that the knife that you use is very sharp. Allahu Akbar. Okay. Then the father asked, why? He says, so that both of us would not struggle in this mission. So you wouldn't struggle in cutting, and I wouldn't struggle in pain. The father was listening, and his response to his son was tears. Then he said, my father, my second request also is this. He said, I want you to tie my hands and legs. And every request, he adds the reason why he's asking. He says, the father asked, why do you want me to tie your hands? He says, so that I wouldn't fight you. And maybe in fighting you would reduce my thawab from Allah. What a man. He said, and struggle when I fight you, and that I don't want to lose any thawab in this. Then Ibrahim said, okay. What is the third request? I said, my father. I said, also when you take me there and by the time of the slaughter, I request you to take my shirt off. Then he asked him, why? He said, for two reasons. He said, one, I don't want that shirt to be bloody. And when you bring it and my mother sees it, she might not be able to handle it. He said, okay. He said, number two, if you do take the shirt after you slaughter me, I want that shirt to be amana for my mother. So whenever she misses me, she can smell me through that shirt. Allahu Akbar. Ibrahim alayhi salam, they said when Ismail mentioned, he busted into tears. What a child, and thinking in that way about his mother. He said, number five, my father, my other request is this. He said, when you go to slaughter me, and Quran mentioned this, فَلَمَّا أَسْلَمَا وَتَلَّهُ لِلْجَبِينِ. He said, I want you to close my eyes with something. So I don't see the time of the slaughtering and what is happening around. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he heard every word from his son. Then he turned and said to his son, my son, I heard everything you said, but I cannot do all of them, but I will honor one. It's the shirt, I will observe it for your mother. But I cannot see you tied up. I cannot see you in all of this situation. And Ibrahim took his son on that night of the night of Eid, and he was walking in between the mountains of Mina, which today we call it Mina, which is the place. And when you go to Hajj and you walk in those mountains of Mina, and you remember Ibrahim, and you remember the history of Ismail, and every step that you take in that place is all nothing but lesson for you and I and for the Ummah. And because of how this lesson is so important, Allah made it to become lesson for mankind for the rest of the life of human being. And as he took his son and they were walking, Shaitan appears to deceive him. And that's another lesson, that in every aspect of your ibadah, expect the influence of Shaitan. And anytime you want to do something and you know it's right thing and there is other parties who don't do it, remember that's from Shaitan. Ibrahim, he and his son, they knew this is what Allah wants. They put their mind, they want to do it, and now Shaitan comes in and try to divert them away from this mission that Allah asked. But Ibrahim did not let that happen. And that is when he took the stone and he says, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, and he threw at Shaitan. The second time, the third time, and Shaitan disappeared. And he took his son to the middle of Mina. And he put his son. The narration said the moment he put his son facing towards the Kaaba, and he was looking, then Allah looked in the sky and he said to the angels, Ya malaikati wa ya sukana samawati, who is out there among my ummah, like Ibrahim and his son Ismail, that I ask them everything and they give everything including themselves. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he took the sword to slaughter his son, his beloved son. See, sometimes if you have a child who is not obedient, he is not listening anyway, and Allah tells you to slaughter, say, Alhamdulillah. He doesn't listen anyway. So if Allah is going to take him as like a cake on top of the cake, let him go, right? Now if you have a son who is listening, obedience, helpful, cooperative in every aspect, it's different. And especially if that child is like Ismail alayhi salam. Now what happened? At that moment, Allah called Ibrahim. Ya Ibrahim, qad saddaqta ru'ya. The dream that you saw was true. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Al-Fida, what does it mean in Arabic? Because sometimes we use this. Even in Arabic they say, Ruhi lakal fida. What does it mean, fida? Al-Fida in Arabic means to take someone and replace something in place of the first thing, so the first thing doesn't get hurt. It's called fida. We say, Ruhi lakal fida. We said to Imam Hussein, I said, my life is sacrifice. Meaning, if you are to get hurt, my life should get hurt, but you should be safe. That's called fida. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَفَدَيْنَاهُ, which means we replace, instead of Ismail to get hurt, Allah said, we replace with fida and azim. Now, who was the fida al-azim? There are two tafsirs. One tafsir said, at that moment, Allah sent a sheep from the heaven, and that sheep was slaughtered instead of Ismail. But there is another tafsir of Ahlul Bayt. They say when Allah says وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ, that Fada'ul Azim was Hussein alayhi salam. That Allah said, Ya Ibrahim, you want to slaughter your son, but we have lifted the responsibility on your shoulder and we put that sacrifice on someone who is Hussein alayhi salam. And that is why in some of the ziyarah we call the Imam Hussein Dhibhun Azim. Hussein is that Fida'un Azim. And I want you to understand something here between the two parentheses. It's not the topic that we're talking about, but just something to think about. Because sometimes when we say Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they are better than the entire Prophet except Prophet Muhammad. And some people think, how could that be possible? They're prophet. How can somebody who's not prophet be better than them? Now you listen careful, brothers and sisters. Ibrahim have earned this honor in front of Allah because he wanted to slaughter his son, but he did not. It's different between he wanted and he did not versus he wanted and he did. Now Hussein, did he wanted to sacrifice himself and did not, or he did sacrifice himself for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Hussein wanted. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he wanted but didn't happen. But Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he did wanted and he did sacrifice for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now which one is better, is more important? The one who wanted and did not, or the one who wanted and actually did? That is one of the things when we say Imam Hussein and Ahlul Bayt are better than Ahlul Bayt. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, on the day of Ashura, they called him, the heavens called Dhibhun Azim. Because the narration says when Ibrahim was cutting and it's not cutting and he finally found his son was standing, he asked, Ya Allah, what happened? I wanted to get the honor of sacrificing my son. Then Allah said, Ya Nabi Allah, we have lifted that responsibility. And we put it on the best creature, the best man Allah ever created, Rasulullah, that he will be the one that Allah want him to have his son slaughtered in the land called Karbala. And Hussein, not only he slaughtered his son, or he was slaughtered, not even one, not just he was slaughtered on the land of Karbala, his children were also slaughtered with the father along in front of him. And one of them is who he described, أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا ومنطقا لرسول الله. The most resembled man to the Prophet in every quality that the Prophet has. And the day that Ali al-Akbar came to the battlefield, as he was walking, Imam Hussein looked at him and he spoke to Allah. He says, Allahumma shahad. Ya Allah, I want you to be the witness, not me. أنه برز إليهم غلام, that a young man went to the battlefield. And who is that young man? أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا ومنطقا لرسول الله. The most resembled man to the Prophet in his word and his walk and every attribute that the Prophet had, he has all of it. And he didn't stop there, and he says, وَكُنَّا إِذَا اشْتَقْنَا إِلَىٰ رُؤْيَةِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. I said, anytime we wanted to look at the face of the Prophet, وَالرَّسُولُ لَيْسَ بَيْنَنَا, and the Prophet is not among us, نَظَرْنَا إِلَىٰ وَجْهِ عَلِيِّ الْأَكْبَرِ. I said that we look at the face of Ali al-Akbar, فَيُذَكِّرُنَا بِرَسُولِ اللَّهِ. Then he reminds us with Rasulullah. وَكُنَّا إِذَا اشْتَقْنَا إِلَىٰ سِمَاءِ صَوْتِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. Whenever you want to hear the voice of the Rasulullah and he's not among us, كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ إِلَىٰ صَوْتِ عَلِيِّ الْأَكْبَرِ. We always listen to the voice of Ali al-Akbar. And he reminds us about Rasulullah. I say sometimes we ask him, Ya Ali al-Akbar, can you call adhan? When he said, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, I said we busted into tears because that voice reminds us the time of Rasulullah. Ali al-Akbar went to the battlefield. He fought the enemies. As he fought, he became weak. He came back and he said to his father, Ya Aba al-Atash al-Atash. I said, my father, I'm weak, I'm thirsty. Then the father looked at him, he says, Bunayya Ali, Ya Azzu ala Abik. I said, today is so dear on your father that you ask him water and he has no drop of water in this tent. But one thing I can tell you, Imam Hussein said to Ali al-Akbar, I said, one thing I can assure you. I said, tomorrow, very soon, you will meet your grandfather Rasulullah, and he will give you a water. You will never become thirsty after today. He says, Ya Ali al-Akbar, this is my ring, put it in your mouth, take it to the battlefield, inshallah you will get all the strength you need. Ali al-Akbar went back as his father ordered him. He fought and fought, and the enemies surrounded him. They fought Ali al-Akbar. Ali al-Akbar, he got into one of those horses. The horse dragged Ali al-Akbar to the middle of those enemies, and every one of them, when the horse dragged Ali al-Akbar, he will strike the body of Ali al-Akbar. Ali al-Akbar then called his father, Assalamu alayka ya Aba. Imam Hussein rushed to his son, Ali al-Akbar. Imam Hussein alayhi salam fought those enemies. He picked Ali al-Akbar. When he picked Ali al-Akbar has some life in him. And at that final moment, he looked at his son and he says, Bunayya Ali, my son Ali. Then Ali al-Akbar, he looked at his father and he said with a very thin voice, he says, Hada Jaddi Rasulullah. I say, Ya Abba, my father, this is my grandfather Rasulullah. This is my grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen, with the water from the heaven. And they said, Hasten Ya Hussein to us. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he was listening to these final words of his son. Suddenly he saw his son. He became shaheed in the hand of Hussein. Imam Hussein looked in the sky. He looked at his son. With a very sad voice he says, Bunayya Ali ba'adaka dunya al-afa. He said, my son Hussein, my son Ali. I said, after your death, what is it left for your father in this world? You are the most dearest son. You are the dear one to him. Now you are gone. What is it left for your father? Allahu Akbar. Hamid ibn Muslim says, when Imam Hussein left his son, where he died, he returned, but very curved back. He was not coming back straight as he left. Allahu Akbar. You know what that means? Meaning that the death of Ali al-Akbar has broken Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And when he came back to the tent, he says, Ya Bani Abdul Muttalib, I said, oh, the children of Abdul Muttalib, please go pick up your brother Ali al-Akbar, because I have no strength to pick Ali al-Akbar. They ask him, why Ya Hussein? He said, كلما رفعت جانبا تساقط الجانب الآخر. Anytime I pick one side, the other side falls apart. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. يا حسين يا حسين
Hussein, 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 Hussein.
Hussein, 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 Hussein. Let's raise the flag of Imam 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 Hussein until the existence of time. Until the existence of time. Until the sun ceases to shine. Until the sun ceases to shine. With all our young, old, and our prime, we will speak out against this crime until everyone knows knows Hussein. Let's raise the flag of Imam 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 Hussein. The world will come to know Hussein. The world will come to know Hussein. On every heart will be his name. On every heart will be his name. He is the one who bore the pain, seeing his family being slain. They will be crying out, Hussein. Let's raise the flag of Imam 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 Hussein. When crime will be throughout the land, when crime will be throughout the land, the world will come out hand in hand. The world will come out hand in hand. From every house and every land, people will come and make a stand. At that time, everyone will say, let's raise the flag of Imam Hussein. 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 Hussein is the name of Islam. Hussein is the name of Islam. Hussein is the living Quran. Hussein is the living Quran. Hussein is the height of Iman, who showed what is the truth to man. The world is grateful to Hussein. Let's raise the flag of Imam 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 Hussein. Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah. Assalamu alayka ya Ali Amir al-Mu'mineen. Assalamu alayki ya Fatima al-Zahra. Assalamu alayki ya Khadija al-Kubra. Assalamu alayka ya Hasan al-Mujtaba. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Assalamu ala al-Hussein wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussein wa ala awlad al-Hussein wa ala ashab al-Hussein, khususan Sayyidi Mawlai Abul Fadl al-Abbas ابن أمير المؤمنين وأختك زينب وأم كلثوم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا علي زين العابدين ومحمد بن علي الباقر وجعفر بن محمد الصادق وموسى بن جعفر الكاظم وعلي بن موسى الرضا ومحمد بن علي التقي الجواد وعلي بن محمد النقي الهادي والحسن بن علي العسكري والحجات بن الحسن المهدي. أجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
We kindly ask all the Sheikh brothers to come shake Sheikh Jaleel's hand. Inshallah, we'll have one this tomorrow, recited by Sheikh Jaleel at 8 p.m. We request everyone to be on time. And again, we are looking for volunteers to recite Hadith Kisa, Salam, and Noha. If anyone's interested, you can see myself or Brother Amjad Saber for details. All right. dinner. And all are requested to eat the niyaz before leaving the hall. Thank you.